He is your surest bet if you are ever going to find the right person. Proverbs 18 verse 22 says, "The man who finds a wife finds a treasure and receives favor from the Lord." That is to tell you that finding the right person can only be a function of God's favor on your life. So while you're getting your search engines ready and preparing for a hunt, do not leave God behind. You should take the lead and you should follow. Be conscious of the fact that God is your Father, and as such, He has your best interest at heart. It will not let you end with the wrong person, because that could signify the end of your life and the fulfillment of your destiny. It will only bless you with the good and wonderful things of life, and that includes your other half and soulmate, the one He has prepared for you to journey the earth together. So, it is no longer a question of if, because God will only bless you with good things, and that is not negotiable. However, it has to be at His instance and timing, as you cannot stampede God otherwise. If you choose to go in your direction, He will, through the Holy Spirit, warn you and try to redirect your steps. But in the end, the ball is in your court. If, on the other hand, you are willing to wait for God's blessings in your life, you can look out for those signs that He's bringing the right person across your path. You have a relationship with God. This seems like a very obvious point, but there's still a need to spell it out properly and put it in context. First, how do you expect something from someone you do not know or have a relationship with? What is the possibility that you get a package from someone you do not have contact with? It is next to impossible. You might want to ask yourself some important questions at this point. Do you know God? Do you have a relationship with Him? If you do have a relationship with Him, how has it been so far? This is because without a right relationship with God, you can expect to receive nothing from Him. Hebrews 11 chapter 6 says, "But without faith it is impossible to please God. For he that cometh to God must believe that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him." If you expect God to bless you with the right person, then your relationship with Him must be sound. You have to settle things in your life first before seeking a partner to join you. Look at the life of Adam at the beginning of creation. He had a relationship with God that was constant and steady, fulfilling God's ordained purpose for his life before God ever thought to introduce a woman into his life. As merciful as God is, some benefits are retained for His children alone. Remember the Syrophoenician woman who asked Jesus to heal her child, but was told that healing was the bread of the children and should not be given to dogs. Although she got her healing in the end, it was only as a result of her faith and God's mercy upon her life. Until your relationship is right with God, He will not bring the right person to you. Things flow from the vertical to the horizontal, and so, if you cannot get it right with God, you will eventually miss it when it comes to choosing the right partner for your life. Having the right relationship with God is an indication that He will bless you with the right partner. It is part of your inheritance as a child of God. Readiness in all aspects of your life. So many people fantasize about being in a relationship or meeting the right person when they are not prepared in any way for a relationship. The Bible tells us that we should count the cost before venturing into anything. Luke chapter 15 verse 28 to 32 explains it. Verse 28 says, "Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it?" 29. "For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you. 30, saying, "This person began to build and wasn't able to finish." Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Won't he first sit down and consider whether he is able, with 10,000 men, to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? If he is not able, he will send a delegation while the others are still a long way off, and will ask for terms of peace. Do not expect God to bless you with the right person when you're not prepared in the first place. Are you emotionally capable of being in a relationship? What about financially? Do you think you can run a relationship that will eventually lead to marriage based on your current resources? Do you have any plans for the future and your relationship? What about age-wise? Are you old enough to begin a relationship? These are the things that show your readiness to be in a relationship. God will not set you up with the right person until you are ready. Adam was already doing something in the Garden of Eden when God brought Eve. Esther had to go through a process of purification for a year, along with the training she had received from her uncle before she was ready to meet the king. Ruth associated with Naomi and came to know the true God before her path was directed to Boaz. All of this are various forms of preparation, and when you are truly ready, it is a sign that God will bless you with the right partner. You do not have to sweat it. You follow God's leading. It is one thing for God to be willing to bless you with the right partner, and another thing for you to accept His will for your life. One way by which you can tell that you will be blessed with your soulmate is dependent on how you follow God's leading for your life, not just concerning your relationship, but every other thing as well. If indeed you are a child of God, you should recognize His voice and the way through which He speaks to you. If you are deaf to Him, then it will take a miracle for you to know the right person when you meet them, because you cannot hear God speaking to you. Another thing is trusting His judgment and following His lead when you have heard from Him. When Joseph heard from the angel of the Lord through a dream, he had adhered to the instructions he was given and married Mary despite the surrounding circumstances at the time. If he had not, he most likely would have ended up with the wrong person, and his name would have been wiped out or become insignificant in the story of Jesus. While we were adept at making our own decisions and reaching conclusions based on what we see, God knows what is right and appropriate for us, and we just have to learn to follow His instructions. When you can do this, it is a sign that God will bless you with the right person. You are working on becoming the right person. Most people have a list of qualities they would like to see or have in a partner, but only a few would stop to consider what such a person would want, or if they would ever fit into the criteria of such people. Let us take a look at those things we want our partners to possess, bypassing the physical features for now. We want them to be loving, caring, understanding, patient, generous, kind, chivalrous, smart, confident, encouraging, and so on. Now back to you. Do you possess any or all of the traits that you expect from your partner? God is just and is not partial in His ways. Do you think He will give you someone with all these characteristics when you can hardly meet up? It would be unfair, and God is always fair. So when you have the right attitude and are learning to become the right person, you will be blessed with someone of similar character. After all, birds of a feather only flock together. Patience. If you have a good relationship with God, are ready in all aspects, ready to follow God's leading, and are working on yourself to become better by the day. One more thing you need is patience. It is no longer a question of if God will bless you, but when it will happen.